We begin with the war in Israel. Today, President Biden vowed that the U.S. will stand with its ally in the wake of the Hamas terror attacks.
Right now, Israel continues to carry out punishing airstrikes in Gaza as its Iron Dome intercepts incoming missiles from Hamas. And here's a look at what's going on right now in the ground in Gaza. Relentless Israeli airstrikes have hit hundreds of targets in the area over the last 24 hours. The Palestinian Health Ministry says hundreds of people have been killed, including dozens of children.
And today we're learning more about the 14 Americans killed over the weekend when Hamas gunmen launched a surprise attack. That includes Deborah Matthias, an American citizen who lived in Israel. Gunmen also shot and killed her husband when they broke into their home. Americans are also among the more than 100 hostages currently being held by Hamas. Some of their loved ones held a news conference in Tel Aviv today. Some families say they're not worried about the larger conflict right now.
I'm just trying to use my voice to make sure that the American people understand this isn't political. This is humanitarian. These are civilians who are being terrorized, and we want them brought home. The last thing I want is for there to be more loss of life on either side.
And this is video from this morning in Tel Aviv. San Francisco business owner Manny Yucatiel has been there since before the fighting broke out. He says he was on his way home to some family members today when the city sirens went off again.
That was people running out of their cars in the middle of the street and finding cover. There were missiles exploding above me. The sirens were going off. And so people from all over the area had to run and duck and find cover because we were not near any bomb shelters.
Let's take a live look at the White House right now, where President Biden detailed U.S. efforts to support Israel against Hamas. The first plane carrying U.S. ammunition has landed in Israel. And according to the country's military, the president said there is no justification for the brutality of Hamas's attack.
They use Palestinian civilians as human shields. Hamas offers nothing but terror and bloodshed with no regard to who pays the price. And let there be no doubt, the United States has Israel's back. We will make sure the Jewish and democratic state of Israel can defend itself today, tomorrow, as we always have.
And joining us live right now from the White House, CBS reporter Natalie Brand. And Natalie, the president confirmed Americans are among the hostages taken by Hamas. Do we now know what the U.S. is doing to help free them?
Yeah, hi, Ryan and Liz. The administration today said that right now we know of 20 Americans or more than that who are unaccounted for. We don't know how many of those are hostages, but we do know that there are American hostages among those being held captive by Hamas. We know that the U.S. Is helping provide intelligence assistance and also special operators to coordinate with their Israeli counterparts on hostage recovery efforts. In fact, the defense secretary, speaking to reporters today, said that there's a small liaison cell on the ground, again, working to help advise Israeli counterparts as they try to bring those hostages back home safely.
And Natalie, this fight isn't just happening around Gaza. Today, there are reports of deadly exchanges with Hezbollah on Israel's border with Lebanon and returned fire into Syrian territory. How worried are U.S. officials about other countries getting dragged into this war?
That's a huge concern, Liz, and that's why the administration says it's beefing up its military posture in the region to send a message of deterrence. The National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, said today that the carrier strike group, the USS Gerald Ford, that headed to the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, that was not necessarily a message for Hamas, but for other actors, other groups, states or non-state actors who are thinking about taking advantage of the situation. So this is a message of deterrence coming from the president, from the Pentagon, and the United States, that anyone thinking of exploiting the situation should not.
And Natalie, President Biden says his administration has been consulting with Congress about sending aid to Israel. But what are the potential impacts of that aid with the House still in limbo without a new speaker?
Yeah, we know that the president made clear that the U.S. has begun to send military assistance. But as this war, this conflict continues, he's going to need to ask Congress for additional funds and additional assistance. He said that he's going to do so when Congress returns. But as you mentioned, the U.S. House not having a speaker right now complicates this quite a lot. And so that's something lawmakers acknowledge as well. It puts new urgency on the speaker's race, and we'll have to wait and see how quickly Republicans in the House and then the entire House can vote and put a speaker in place so Congress can again function.
All right, so I can make some decisions.